Well, well, well. Looks like we're back. It looks like we're back. Does it sound like we're back? Let's assume it does sound like we're back. Um, what's up, folks? It's Steve Holmes. We're back. It's, what is it, October 5th, 2025. We flipped all the switches on the Enterprise and we got all the gadgets working and all the cameras and all the mics and all the craziness that you got to do to do live streams from a drum room. And right now it says lower bitrate below 8,000 to avoid cutoffs. Let's do that. Let's check our settings. Sorry for the let's see, output, streaming. Oh, geez, yeah. So we have it up pretty high. Let's geez, should we do 8,000 it says? That's, I don't know if that's gonna happen like in real time. It's a little test. It's just a test. Okay? It's just a test. We're just seeing if we can even still do this craziness. We're seeing if we can still drum, seeing if we can still stream. I see we have some folks on YouTube. Randy Miller says, missed you, Steve. Glad you're back. Thank you, Randy Miller. Appreciate it. Randy, how does the stream look and sound? Let's go to our YouTube page and see if we can see it. I'm clicking on my... Oh yeah, that's fine. I think it looks and sounds fine, actually. Let's assume it does. It's been a minute since we've done this, and to be honest, I haven't been doing a whole lot of drumming these days. I kind of got sick of my own playing and sick of not playing music with others, and other non-drumming life things have been, taking up a lot of my time. Adult stuff, adulting. So yeah, there's that, and there were times where I wanted to, if I'd ever get back in here, and yesterday I came in here for a while, and man, I just got that momentum back, really felt good, and had to update all the things on the friggin' update all the things on the on all the computers and stuff, and it can be a hassle, and that's part of the bummer, actually. Is like when I'm in the drum room, I prefer not to do, figure out computer issues, because that's such a big part of my professional life. And so when I come in here, I just want to kind of zone out and relax and have it be an outlet. And if you're going to do this, if you're going to stream, if you're going to talk to people and record footage and make content, you need to deal with stuff. And so we're dealing with stuff, and we dealt with it, and we're here. Thanks. Let's see. Randy says, "Let's schmuck improve and sound looks much improved and sounds good from my end. I'm just watching on a cheap cell phone, by the way." Okay, awesome. Cool. Yeah. So I mean, I've changed the setup a little bit, and not a whole lot. And I'm still playing the same stuff, that I always play. I put out a new website that I'm really excited about, that is a front end for all my existing content. And that's steveholmes.tv, so I'm very excited about that. Let's, can we put that on? Yeah, here we go, steveholmes.tv. This is a something I've been wanting to do for a long time. This is a website that has chapters to all the past streams, all the past videos. These are all chapters that are in various categories. And so I plan on, in future streams, like if someone asks a question and it's already been answered, we're just gonna watch the answer on here, I think that might be interesting. So like, hey Steve, how do you play a songo? Let's
Songo.
There's an old clip of me talking about the songo. So yeah, so I thought it would be convenient. To have kind of a one-stop shop for past content, because a lot of times the same answers get the same questions get asked, and so I've always been like, it'd be great to have a go-to place to just point folks to and just go here. So we got lucky. The URL was available, and I had some help with the website, and made some adjustments using AI actually, which I thought was pretty cool. That was kind of my experiment into that, like adding new buttons. And the other day I added a share button under the video player. Like you can actually, you pick a video and then you hit share, and then you can share it, and it'll, the person that clicks the link, it'll go to that website and then queue up that video. So I think that's a good way to get folks to the website and also point them to a particular video. Actually, I think that's kind of cool. And helpful. That's my motivation for doing all this stuff. Pretty much is just trying to be helpful, trying to be useful, and offer information to folks that will benefit their drumming. So yeah, that's that. I'm gonna do some drumming, and just kind of warm up and improvise and see what happens, kind of thing. So I don't know what's gonna come of it. I guess we'll see. So after we click some more things. All right, cool. All right, let's get the cam switcher going and turn off the talkie mic. See, I still remember all the things you got to do. And I'm just gonna warm up and just do a little playing, and then if folks wants to ask questions, then type out those questions and anything you want to talk about, and we'll talk about it. All right, let's see how it goes. My name's Steve Holmes. Thanks for hanging out. Man, I'm getting a blister. That's embarrassing. I'm getting a blister. Oh, man. Come on. That's how long it's been since I've, like, it's embarrassing. Like, I've been in here playing, but I haven't, when you're playing and people are watching, it's different, right? And I thought it was interesting, like, trying to, stick to I was doing that, just trying to, keep that going and fill it in and whatever, and then the other one with the bass drum, right? That's ba-boom, that ba-boom, whatever that was, And it's funny because when I tried to change from the bass drum theme, it was still, like, I could still hear it, and, like, I kind of kept going back to it, but I wanted to, like, I change it, like, do the hi-hat thing, Anyway, what's up, folks? It's Steve Holmes, Deja Vu. We've been here before. For those of you that haven't, this is what we do. We play drums. We talk about drums. Streaming live from the Los Angeles area. It's October 5th, 2025. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's having a good 2025. Cheers. So we've been doing this for a long time, and we like to, answer questions and see what folks have to say. But there's an official archive now for the stream. We're gonna be pimping it for those that are not aware. SteveHolmes.tv. This is it. This is the new archive of all my content. These are all YouTube chapters in different categories. All right. I've got advice on all kinds of different things. Like 90% of these chapters are. Click it, takes you here. So this is all to speak to Susan, who said, every time I'm told to do a drum solo, I'm losing ideas. I lack confidence. So talking about confidence. Yes, so confidence on the drum set, that's just one topic. And as you see, there's plenty of others. So this is the new archive. So please go here. Please bookmark. Please share. Look at this. These are all the drum solos from all the past streams. It's crazy. These are all expandable. We got metric modulation, performances of different bands, different play-alongs, all kinds of stuff. So this is the official archive of the channel. This is kind of my digital legacy, if you will. I mean, the internet's been around long enough. It's like, I got to start thinking about this stuff, so I'm proud of some of the things we've discussed on the past streams. And I was like, how are people going to see this stuff? It's like, at the 15-minute mark on the stream in January 23rd, like no one's going to see that. And so that's why I did this. So it's like a kind of a one-stop shop for links to go to all the different past videos. So steveholmes.tv, please spread the word, please bookmark, and feel free to donate and say thanks because this site is free. That would be great. So speaking of questions, what are folks saying now? We're catching up to the stream here. Julian Fernando says, what's up, Steve? What's up, Julian? It's been a minute. Thanks for, long-time supporter. Really appreciate it. Clapped Out Motor on YouTube says, so much tasty language. Thank you. JR said, nice grooving. Thank you, JR. Randy Miller says, are there any particular exercises you use to improve your left hand? I am also a traditional grip player. Your left hand is so developed and your doubles are so clean and fast. I'm interested on your take on it. Well, it's funny you should ask. Because on steveholmes.tv, there's a whole section on technique, but I'm not going to hey, just check the website. Obviously we're going to talk about it. But again, this is why I did this. It's just so this stuff is here all the time. Let's see technique. Is there anything there's a whole section on traditional grip. Look at this. There's a whole section on traditional grip. So, match versus traditional, we talk about, kind of the same stuff, switching between the biggest advantage to traditional grip discussion. So definitely check this out, but, not to, let's talk about it now. I mean, I've been playing traditional grip for a long time. And I mean, I don't want to get into it's better or worse, whatever. I guess you're asking are there particular exercises you use to improve your left hand? I mean, there's no shortcut for, just practicing, just kind of attacking and stress testing. You mentioned doubles. I mean, there's no shortcut to that stuff. I mean, it's just, you just got to practice your mama dadas, There's also a whole section on doubles on that website. But just, I just spent a lot of time working on clean doubles. I was lucky. I was in the drumline and marching band in high school, actually, but they were very serious. So they were very like drum corps wannabe. And so we had to get our doubles going. But, you know, just go through the subdivisions, Randy, and, you know, go through eighth notes and then play them straight and then play them doubled. But when I say doubled, I mean like play them as 16th notes, you know, and then go back to single stroke as, you know, as doubles. You know, same thing, you know, 16th notes, you double them to 30 seconds. Then you get to the triplets. The triplet stuff can be tricky, you know, like double stroked eighth note triplets or 16th note triplets and etc. Double stroked 16th note triplets or 32nd note triplets. And so if you play that slow enough, you're going to, you know, you can do it. You just got to, you just got to practice it enough to where your hands will just obey, you know. But there was no secret, you know, I just spent a lot of time, you know, for a long time I was, you know, just, I want to say like obsessed with just getting the traditional grip going. And so, you know, I'd stress test, do like a single right and a triple left, but really like, let me break down some, you know, the thing I was talking about with the different subdivisions, just real quick. I mean, I'm just kind of powering through, you know. Like I said, I mean, I did spend a lot of time on, you know, the old thing. I mean, it's true, you know, like the dentist thing on pillows and, you know, surfaces that didn't rebound and that kind of thing. And it took some doing. Like I'm paying attention to like stick heights there, making sure that you know, that my weak hand isn't like lower as I'm doing that, etc. That's why you saw me like I tried to like actually bring up the, you know, accent the doubles on the weak hand, etc. And I mean, I'm kind of surprised that I can get it up to that speed, to be honest. Like and because I haven't been in here that much, and if anything, that just supports my point, which is like once you put in the time, once you can do it, you know, case by case, like everyone's different. But if you know, it just becomes a switch. Like, oh, do the doubles, click, okay, I'm doing it. You know, but it takes years. You know, but you can get to a point, you can get over that first hump, like after like a season, like you spent all summer, you know, like whatever, like you just got to work on it, you know. There's a whole section of doubles on that website, steveholmes.tv, where I go over specific exercises and all the different subdivisions and all the different combinations and how to apply it to the drum set, you know, and how to translate that to you know, just literally improvising. You know, basically the finish line is I'm playing a subdivision, whether it's eighth note triplets or 16th notes, whatever. I'm improvising with accents and doubling everything else. That's the finish line. Okay. So that's it for doubles. That was for Randy Miller on YouTube. Let's see. Hadzi Kick on Kick says, hello, mate. How's your streaming going? I love your content. Oh, this person's like, it's an advertisement to try to get more followers. No, okay. Keith B says, "Gotta say, I've missed you. I've missed you too, Keith B. I've missed drumming. I've missed streaming." And Private User says, "Hello from Cardiff, UK. Oi, mate. It's fine. I wish I could do all the different English accents for all the different regions. You know, I know they have all different accents and stuff, and I have like a very generic, like, all right then, you know, kind of thing. You know, just I'm BBC trained when it comes to, you know, English accents. You know, right, do a bit of drumming then. All right, love, cup of tea." So please excuse my my poor English accent. See, recording setup interface. Mike's cheer says BB photo reverb. Keith B dynamics. Okay, so BB, I have a all my mics are going into a very simple mic preamp. Let me see if I can show that without, like, will it show on the overhead? Let's see, the Logicam. Kinda. So this red thing here, this is a mic preamp, and that's going optical out to this Apollo Twin X unit here, this thing. And the Apollo Twin X is going Thunderbolt into this laptop. That's the setup, and the laptop is it's running. You know, it's running the software that comes with that, which is called Apollo Console. And so, you know, it's not exactly real time, but it's close. There's a really long, but these are each channel gets a plugin, various plugins rather. So yes, you know, EQ, compression, reverb. That's pretty much it. You know, some sweeteners, you know, on all the channels, and these are all, you know, these are all going to one stereo output that OBS is using. I can't show you OBS because I have it set to not stream. So yeah, that's it. Mic preamp to Apollo Twin X with UAD console software that's almost zero latency. And it took a long time actually to get a drum sound that I was happy with the Apollo stuff. But that's just my inability to you know, navigate their software. You know, I found it easier to get a good drum sound like in Pro Tools, let's say, but it's totally different. All their software, all the UAD plugins are software versions of vintage plugins. So if you're a recording engineer and you're familiar with actual, you know, like old school analog, you know, reverbs and compression and EQ and all that stuff, then you know, the UAD plugins are great. They're all just software versions of that, but I was coming in not knowing about that stuff. And so, you know, I had to do what I call like figure it out studios. And so I spent a lot of time doing it, and I got a decent drum sound. And so here we are. That's the setup. Also, there's, we talk about that on past streams. So steveholmes.tv for more information. All right, where are we? Yeah, reverb by desk. So Keith B says, how do you practice on a pillow without squeezing the sticks? Well, I mean, I just squeeze the sticks as much as I need to. You know, like I don't have a pillow here. I have a towel. We can work with the towel. That's actually a good question. We can get a towel going and just kind of show, like if I were to work on, you know, practicing on this towel. And I can leave the talking mic on, right? Because it's not going to be too loud. So this has zero bounce, right? And so just starting slow, you know, like, I mean, getting into grip and like whether or not you're squeezing too hard, it's a whole thing. Like I'm kind of from the school of Weckl when it comes to that. Like you don't want to squeeze the stick so much that you're choking it off, you know? Like I don't agree with, you know, everything he says, but I love, like, it's so true. Like if you hold the sticks lightly and you tap the sticks versus squeezing the sticks, you can really hear that difference. There's kind of no denying that, you know? And it may not sound good through the laptop mic, but the point remains, right? And so I make it a point to, you know, I want to hold enough to have total control, but not you know, so tight that I'm choking the stick or that I'm it's self-defeating in any way, you know? So not a lot of bounce there. Let's see if we can lower this a little bit. right? So you know, and I'm a fan of like powering it out. You know, that's the antithesis of the whole like, oh, let the stick do the rebound and that whole thing, and that's true. But I also want the ability to like power out the strokes. You know, like I was lucky when I was young. I learned drumming through rock and roll. You know, I had this big Neil Peart wannabe drum kid, and I beat the shit out of my drums, and I played along with rock records for years. That was my foundation, and I think the benefit of that is like just that kind of hard-hitting rock and roll energy. But I don't want that to be my only thing. What I want is for that to be a mode that I could go to if it's musically appropriate, if I want to do that. You know what I mean? And so can I power out strokes on a pillow? Yes. You know, can I play with rebound and finesse? Yes. Like I think both, there's value to both of them, right? So I mean, I don't know how to exactly answer your question. I mean, I'm kind of like fulcrum, you know, with the middle finger, and just, you know, again, for the bouncy thing, you know, letting the stick kind of come up like that, you know, but on the same hand, like be able to power out the strokes. Like Virgil is the king of that. Virgil is the king of powering out strokes. You know, but that's where like the Moeller technique comes in, you know. You know, when it comes to singles, but we're talking about doubles. You know, so again, like the same exercises I was doing and just kind of slower and just powering it out. You know, there's very little bounce here. You know, we can even double it up, you know, fold it so we get even less bounce, right? Yeah, that's absolutely dead. So someone's asking about, like, how do you hold the sticks when you practice the pillow so you don't drop the stick? Like, you know, I mean, I've just put in the time, you know, like, and if you're having trouble, like, play slow and pay attention, you know, play it slow and pay attention on what you're doing, like, watch. And, you know, with everything, like, this is the way, like, start slow and speed up until the control starts to go away and you start like, whoa, it's not really happening. And then stop there and just go take it down just a notch and just keep it there. You know, also practicing, like, if you're struggling with double strokes, then practice triples. That's another good thing. It's like my double suck, okay, we'll practice the next hardest thing, and so the doubles will seem easier. So if you just do triples, but you can do flam taps too, right? Alternating flam tap, like flam right, flam left. If you do that, then you're actually playing triple strokes, right? With my leg on in the towel. You know, the stuff's not going to happen on its own. Like a lot of guys are like anti-technique, and technique is it's just power. You know, you can have technique and play musical. You know, just because you're technique, it doesn't mean you have to be a speed demon. You know, like I'm not a speed demon. My singles suck. You know. And yeah, this takes a lot more effort. You know, but that's the point. You know. You know, if your left hand's weak, then play a single right and a double left. And again, slow it down and just kind of focus on it. And another good thing you do is like exaggerate. Like literally exaggerate the stroke, you know. You know, and again, this is just a towel on a snare drum, you know, like normally it'd be like a pillow. You know, I spend a lot of time like watching TV with the pillow in front of me, and I just like doing this kind of stuff. Just singles, doubles, paradiddles, flam. You know, and it's interesting because a lot of folks use books for that stuff. I never use book. Like most of the time, I just improvise. But I made sure to play the things that I wanted to work on. You know, like try to play fast, try to work on my weekend, you know, but like I would just watch TV and just on a pillow, just, you know, on a steering wheel at red lights when I was young. Like I don't do that anymore, but you know, I just always had sticks in my hand and I was just always practicing this stuff. Singles, doubles, because what else is there? Singles, doubles, triples, maybe once in a while. Like that's it. That's it. It's just different variations of those, quiet ones, loud ones, but that's it. You got 4 limbs, you got 2 sticks. It's going to be singles, doubles, triples. you know, and with your feet especially, it's going to be even less, you know, variety. It's going to be singles, doubles, you know, like there's only so many things. And so if you get really good at the few, like the letters, then blah, 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 you know? So I hope that was helpful. That was, let's see, who was asking about, oh, that was for Keith B on YouTube. He says, how do you practice on a pillow without squeezing the stick? What type of drums do you have? Says Dr. Sid. Dr. Sid, we have Yamaha Phoenix drums. Love my Phoenix. Best drums in the world. Yamaha PHX. Love these drums. And I'm still like, you see there's a clear head here and like coated ambassadors. Like sometimes I'm feeling one way, sometimes I'm feeling another. Right now I have a Dunnett snare drum actually. It's a titanium. This is a Dunnett titanium. But the toms, the kick are Yamaha PHX. Love my Yamaha PHX. Best drums ever. Let's see. Keith P says, I'm learning to relax my hand for good technique. Yeah, I mean, you can relax all you want, but like you just want to, like, it's like a bodybuilder holding toothpicks, and his goal is to not allow anyone to take them. That's my mental image of like how I want to control the drumsticks, you know. So yeah, SteveHolmes.tv has all the archive streams and also a thank you button if folks are interested in saying thanks. Boom. Okay, so what else do we got? Steve was good. Says, dude, Lavish D, what's up? Man, the first time I streamed ever was during the pandemic. I had literally a ponytail because no one could get their haircut. I had like a little ponytail. It was in my drum room in wasn't even here. It was my old drum room, and I didn't have mics. I just had an iPhone, and the mic on the iPhone was just good enough to get a decent. It's still on my channel, actually. That's crazy. And the point is I think Lavish D, I think you were there, right? I think you were there. Do I have chapters in any of those? No. Can we find that? Should we look? Oh my God. Let's see if we can find that. Let's see if we can find that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were on those early streams, Lavish D. This is during the friggin' pandemic. Yeah, things are not loading. But and for folks that have been following me for a while, like, you know that I mean I've got a ton of, you know, edited videos, you know, that I had done before I got into the streaming thing, and I kind of have a knack for that, and I like doing it. You know, the editing thing, but it's just so time consuming, you know, I found. And with the streaming, the big advantage is that, you know, you can just hit a button and boom, you're making content. You know, here we go. This is a test. Well, the first stream ever says test, and it's like an hour. It's like an hour long. Oh my goodness. Let's look at this. Is there an ad gonna play? Look at this. The first stream ever. This is during COVID. 4 years ago, it says. Things are the same. It's still me, like you're looking into the camera trying to figure stuff out. Oh my God. How is the... Look at that ponytail. Oh my gosh. Same stuff. I'm playing the same stuff, you guys. Come on. I'm a little better, right? I'd like to think I am. Oh, man. Anyways, Lavish D, you've been following me for a long time is the point. I appreciate the support, sir. What else do we got? Favorite bass drum pedal? Right now, I'm just using a Yamaha, whatever their high-end pedal is. I think it's a Dragon thing, actually. Yeah, I love the Yamaha pedals. They feel great. They let me do what I do, and yeah, that's what I got. Yamaha pedal. Let me make sure that we're still, yeah, everything's still cooking. Okay. Hey Steve, let's see. Raphael says, hey Steve, do you have experience with tendonitis? I have problems with my elbow. Yes, I do. I actually do have experience with tendonitis. I kind of got lucky though, because my tendonitis, I got tennis elbow and golf elbow. I got both. But I found out later that it wasn't so much from just drumming. It was like a combination of things. And I went to actually I went to the same doctor that performed on Thomas Lang. Thomas Lang got surgery, right, on his wrist, and he stopped playing traditional grip, right? This is public information. But I found the name of the doctor, through a mutual connection that he went to, and I went to this doctor. This was maybe 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, so not that long ago, maybe 4 years ago. And I went to him, and he did all the tests, and he's like, "Yes, you've got all the elbows, tennis elbow, golf elbow." And so I put these splints, on my wrist, etc. I sit at a computer all day for my job. I make Call of Duty at Infinity Ward. For those that don't know, I'm a professional game designer, and so I got these supports for my elbow that clamp onto my desk, and so my elbow had support, and I got a vertical mouse for my keyboard. You can look that on Amazon. It's basically a mouse that instead of putting your hand on it like this, which is not the natural position. The natural position is this, like when you shake someone's hand. And so there's actually a mouse that's designed for your hand in this position. It's called a vertical mouse, or a 3D actually vertical mouse. So I got one of those mice, and that really helped. And so this was just me chipping away at the things that were contributing to my tendon issues. So I upgraded my computer setup. I got some things to keep my wrist straight when I slept, because I asked the doctor, I'm like, how does this happen? And he's like, he's just like, any bending, any use, period. Like all bending, all use, like you're chipping away at your battery, if you will. Right. And so all the way I worked, the way I slept, the drumming, but also swimming actually was a huge contributor for me. It actually was the leading contributor. And I didn't realize until, because I got the issues and it coincided with me doing some swimming. I was swimming in this really unconventional way, kind of on my back, but kind of like this, like on my back. And so it was really taxing, like my tendons and everything. And it was a good workout, and that's why I was doing it. But then the off season came, right? Like I stopped swimming, like for the winter, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Cut to like the next summer. Like my issues went away. I started not wearing the stuff at night, because when I slept, I was like this, like fetal position, right? And so I'm bending. And so he was like, that's not good, right? And so my issues went away. Sorry, just reading my phone. My issues went away, and then the next summer came, and I started swimming again, and immediately started feeling the pain. And so it was from the way I was swimming primarily. So sorry, like long story, like it was not because of my drumming, so unfortunately I don't have any like, play this particular way to help your tendonitis. I've been kind of lucky, although I will say that, I'm not like touring, like, night after night, 90-minute show. Like if I was, I'm 100% sure that physical issues would manifest. And so I'm not saying that my technique is so good that I don't have any physical issues. It's like my technique, might be accommodating in that way, but also I'm just not playing. I'm not playing enough to reveal those issues. Really, is the truth, and I'm big enough to admit that here. Just kidding. All right. So I hope that was helpful. Yeah, Lavish D remembers the early streams. He's like, blurry camera. Oh my God. Lavish says, I'm practicing 1600 triplet inverted doubles. It's hard. Weckel reached it in his last live. He talked about it in his last thing. Yeah, like starting with a single. So like yes, that just reminds me of GAD, because that's kind of the foundation of the GAD thing, but also, yeah, that's interesting. I should try to. Weck is just the master of doubles and getting the flowing doubles. Let's see. Raphael says, "Thank you very much, Steve. Is it possible bad technique causes tendonitis? Totally, it's possible. Of course, it's possible. Drumming is just hitting things with a stick, And so, honestly, like if you're holding the stick so much that you're absorbing all of the vibration, you're gonna hurt yourself. You're going to injure yourself. This is why letting the stick bounce is so important. It's part of the reason why it's so important. Like if you take a stick and like, you just smash it together. If you take a baseball bat and hit a tree and hold on to the bat as tight as you can, it hurts, because your body's not supposed to absorb all that vibration, all that shock. And so you just gotta, honestly, like I spent so much time just with sticks in my hand, and you just kind of like, I mean, I don't want to sound corny, but they become extensions of you, and you start to get so intimately familiar with how this feels, and you start to get very sensitive to like, oh, a little too much of this, a little not enough that, in terms of how it feels when I hit anything, or when I hit drums. This is why I'm not a big fan of like electronic drums. I mean, for the guy that's like, just needs to drum and on the weekends or after work, he's not that serious about it. But if you're serious about technique, if you're serious about getting good on the drums, I would not spend a lot of time on electronic drums because you are training your body on surfaces that are not drums, and so if you spend a lot of time on electronic drums and then you sit in an acoustic drum set, it's going to feel foreign, and that's bad for me. Like, you guys, people are, everyone's different. Blah, blah, blah. BB says, gotta go. All right, see you later. Yeah, interesting. Swimming and sleeping cause. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just use, any kind of use. If you're using your hand, if you're bending, if you're stressing your tendons, that's it. Let's see, 8th note hi-hat, but 16th note everything is getting hard to get used to. Let's see, Goob on YouTube says, would you have done anything different when learning younger in hindsight? Great question. BB Photo, see you later. Cheers. Would I do anything different? Wow. Man, I mean, if I could go back in time and try to convince my younger self, I probably would not have listened. But I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound. I mean, I'm like 53 and I'm not, like I said, if I started playing, if I find myself in a situation where traditional grip isn't working, then of course I'm going to switch to match grip, right? I'm not going to just play traditional grip just at a principle. You know what I mean? It's just whatever feels more comfortable, whatever allows you to do what you want to do, when you're playing music, all that footage of Vinnie with Jeff Beck, he's playing match grip all the time, with Sting and, those hard hitting gigs. He's switching between match and traditional. I think he's actually one of the few guys that is, a true master of traditional grip. And so he knows the limits of it, like on those big hard hitting gigs. And so he just, there's older footage of young Vinnie playing match grip. And so he's been going back and forth his whole career. But I think he actually has a very unique perspective on that, because not only is he an expert in both, he's gone through different phases and kind of mastered both, but he's actually played all these different venues. I mean, the biggest venues in the world, literally, like Wembley, etc. So, he knows the limits. He's lived the experiment. He's lived the experiment. There's nothing wrong with switching. I mean, this just goes back to the question, like, what would you tell yourself? I mean, the point is like, I don't know if I would have played, traditional grip, I don't know if I would have. I mean, I'm curious to like, because guys like Dave DeCenzo and Chris Coleman, those guys are just amazing. Dennis, Novak, he was mastered traditional grip and then said goodbye to it. There's old footage of Novak like playing crazy, ferocious stuff, traditional grip. Then just one day he was like, nah, I'm done. I'm singles guy now. I've already got the doubles. I'm singles guy. So, so I don't know. Maybe I would have changed. But this has its own advantage. I mean, just strictly, not even just playing, but like psychologically, there's just something to this. Like watching jazz guys. That was another thing that appealed to me. Was just like kind of like the look of it, the frame of mind of this, and like this. Just kind of like visually was a representation of something that I admired and wanted to be able to do. Jeff Tane Watts, John Riley, playing drums is a visual medium, like it or not. You're on stage, you're like, watch me, be entertained by me, and it's not like, it almost sounds silly because non-drummers are not going to be like, oh, it's so fascinating how his left hand, like they're not going to, so. Anyways, steveholmes.tv. Check it out for all the archive stuff, all the old streams. They're all here. So let's find a little snippet about traditional grip. Let's see, technique. Actually, there's a lot of stuff good here about technique. Traditional grip finger technique. Did I always play traditional grip? Like, you can watch me say the same stuff I just said. Traditional grip discussion. What's that about? Let's see. I mean, really, it's like the key thing is I mean, for me, it's I mean, there's a number of things, but the one thing that most folks aren't doing. Yes, Steve, go on.
It's not that most folks they're not practicing the right thing.
They're just not practicing
it enough.
Exactly.
Like
that really is like someone asked about traditional grip left hand before, and it's like that's really it. It's like a lot of people approach practicing like what I call checklist style. I noticed. They're like, practice this thing. Okay, I did. Check. Don't need to do it anymore. I think that's a mistake. It's a never ending. You can always get better. And have a specific target in mind. That's something else that folks do. Whenever I practice something, I have a very specific sound or thing in mind. Like, and I'll know it when I hear it. Like I'm trying to do this thing. I keep practicing and then I do it. I'm like, okay, there it is. That's it. And then just keep working on it. Kind of thing. Okay, so let's play a little bit more. All right, let's do some more playing, some more sucking. Maybe I'll try to work on like some different doubles, just a little more improv. We got to get some tracks and play along. I know it's all about playing music, and this is my biggest weakness. It's just coming in here and wanking for you guys. What I want to do is set up like a yacht rock kit. Like a 4-piece with a super like low tune snare, and just play along, like Stop Dragging My Heart Around, like Stevie Nicks, Tom Petty, Eagles tunes. Like I've got a whole yacht rock list that I jam to it all. I mean, I'll play along with it. I listen to it all the time. And it's kind of deviated. It's not all yacht rock. It's like other like easy listening and like 80s favorites and stuff and Hall & Oates and that kind of stuff. I thought it would be fun to like just play along with that stuff. And I would start super minimal, but eventually, it would just be like, okay, we're blowing over all these tunes now. We're just soloing over them, which could be funny. I mean, someone could do a whole YouTube short series on just blowing over, yacht rock stuff. Only drummers would appreciate it, I think, maybe. I don't know. Anyways. Let's play some more and try not to suck. All right. I think that's enough of that. Thanks for hanging out, folks. We did it. Hey, we did a stream. October 5th, 2025. What do you know? Didn't know if I had any more of these left in me, but it was fun. Folks asked questions. We did some drumming. And, yeah, don't forget, steveholmes.tv is the archive for all the content, all the questions, all the past streams for the most part. It's all here. So pass the word around, please. Thanks for hanging out. Anyone else? One last question check before we sign off. Anyone have any Hail Marys? Let's see. Keith just got the Yamaha EAD10. Love it. Yeah, I'm hearing good things about that. Raphael says, what is the best exercise for getting relaxed grip? I think we talked about that enough. Traditional grip feels more natural. Jojo, too. Yeah, Jojo's got amazing traditional grip. Let's see. Kartik says, hey, Steve, I've been practicing for a month now. Just started first time properly committed. My shoulders get stiff while playing. Any tips? I mean, just watch your posture. I mean, if your shoulders are getting stiff, I mean, you're probably using muscles that you've never used before. Just don't hurt yourself. Like, you know, as soon as your shoulders start hurting, like, ask you, like, what am I playing right now? Like, ask yourself, you know, and, you know, still play the same stuff, but just slow it down, you know? I mean, it's possible to, like, you know, it's a thing, like, you move your hand around, you can actually touch your shoulder, and this is my theory. Like, the older guys get, the older drummers get, the lower the ride cymbal gets. Like, young guys way up here, because if you hold your arm like this, you can feel like you're using like 100% of your muscle. But the lower your hand comes down, the less muscle you use. And so right here, I'm hardly using any muscle. You know, and so take advantage of the fact that all your stands and all your hardware is adjustable. Like, adjust everything, get everything to a comfortable place. Don't make yourself work unnecessarily around the kit. Lower things, get comfortable. All right? That's my answer for Kartik. Let's see. Lavish says, beautiful doubles. Thank you, sir. Keith says, maybe I'm wrong with the flat ride over the floor tom. Maybe I should put it over the 12. Yeah, do your thing, man. Shadow says, did you work on Infinite Warfare Zombies? I did not. I worked on the campaign. I'm a campaign designer. But the zombies in Infinite Warfare are super cool. I'm really proud of this game, actually. The campaign in particular, I think, is you know, it's good. Keith says, good grief, thank you. What drums do you have? Dr. Sid, Yamaha PHX are the drums we use. There's plenty of talk about that on the steveholmes.tv. There's a whole gear section on there, because I'm not a gear guy necessarily. Like, I use gear because I need to use it. I'm not like into gear. I'm not like, oh, the 1937 Ludwig, you know, snare drum with the traditional throw off. Like, I'm not that guy. I just want it to sound good. I just want to play. And I want like high quality, good quality gear, actually. So, I mean, so that's why I use the stuff I use. Okay, thanks for hanging out. Maybe we'll do this again. We'll see. My name's Steve Holmes. See you next